Finally, God is showing the truth about your bathroom, and it is something you never expected to hear. My dear child, if you believe in angels, start this message and listen fully, because the angel says, beloved one, this is not a normal word, this is an urgent call. Archangel Michael has spoken with power, saying, open this now without delay. He is not speaking casually, he is giving a direct command, because the place you think is private and safe. Your bathroom is not as safe as it appears. The walls, the floor and the whole space where you go to clean yourself has been touched in ways you do not yet see, and what looks normal hides spiritual activity you cannot ignore. God says, open your eyes, because the time of revelation has arrived. The bathroom is more than a simple room, it has become a crossing point where energies meet, some good and some harmful, and now Michael is crying out, you cannot wait any longer, open it and see the truth. God says this exposure is connected to forces you overlooked, presences that watched you without your knowledge, and energies drawn to that place because of your innocence and your trust. You assumed this room was beyond interference, but that is no longer the case. Michael is trembling with urgency, saying, when you step inside after reading this, do so with respect and prayer, knowing God is with you. This is not fear, it is awakening. This is truth being uncovered. God says there are things in that space not seen with your natural eyes, things placed with intent to confuse, to weaken, or to mislead, and Michael has been sent to guard you, to give strength, and to command you to face what is hidden. Open the door carefully, open with prayer, and God says even the air inside carries messages, some dark, some protective, but all meant to teach you faith. God says pay attention to what you feel, the mirror, the water, the tiles, the drain. These are not only physical objects, they carry spiritual impressions. Michael says this is very serious. Your bathroom has been a battlefield without your awareness, and now you will witness what has been concealed. God says what is revealed will go beyond your imagination, and your safety and peace depend on this moment, because something has been planted there, either by someone with bad intent or by unseen forces, and now the time of exposure has come. Look closely, for familiar objects may suddenly take on new meaning. Michael says your inner sense will guide you. Trust what you feel, because God has prepared you to confront the unseen and reclaim this space. You may feel chills or discomfort, but those are signs of divine presence and angelic warning. God says this room is a threshold, not just a space for cleaning, but a point where spiritual activity has entered. What has been left in corners or in plain sight will now come into focus. Michael says do not dismiss small details. Every towel, every bar of soap, every faucet may hold signs. God says this is your call to vigilance and courage, because someone tied to your life has sought entry into this room and has worked with forces against your peace. Michael is covering you with his wings, but you still must act. You must look and see, because now, after long preparation, the truth is being shown, and the person involved will shock you. Michael says the time is now, do not delay, and God says when you face this you may feel fear, anger, or disbelief, but do not let fear stop you, because I have given you wisdom and protection. The purpose is not to harm you, but to awaken you. God says every moment you spent here was watched by energies unseen, and now the truth comes forward. God says you will sense strange things, maybe whispers or vibrations or feelings you cannot explain, but Michael says do not fear, because these are signs of awakening and proof of God's protection. The water, the air, the tiles, all have been touched by intention, some good, some not, and Michael says you are about to reclaim this room through divine power. God says this message is awakening and protection. Take a deep breath as you read and feel Michael near you, his sword ready to cleanse and his voice commanding your attention. God says the exposure will bring relief and clarity. It is both warning and blessing. Warning because the space has been compromised, and blessing because with guidance you will now cleanse it and reclaim your peace. Michael says act quickly, act with faith. God is with you. The presence of God fills this room, so take immediate steps. Open it. See what is there. Speak prayers of protection and command every corner to be cleansed. God says
this will show you why the ordinary has been central to spiritual events in your life. You will see, you will understand, you will be empowered. Michael says this is not a message to ignore. He commands you to act now, because your bathroom has been a target for unseen eyes for longer than you realized. But do not fear, because God is exposing it not to scare you, but to free you. Michael says open it with courage, trust what you see, pray, and claim it back. God says the disturbances you thought were chance were not, they were signs, and now the angels are surrounding you. Michael says use cleansing water, salt, and prayer. Visualize golden light filling the room and covering every object. God says what happens here reflects on your entire home, your family, and your energy, so the cleansing now is critical. Michael says examine closely, for there may be objects or energies left that were never meant for you, some obvious, some subtle, but do not fear, because He will guide you and protect you. God says thresholds are powerful, and that is why this one was attacked, but now it will be purified. Cleanse the mirrors, cleanse the drains, cleanse the walls, and claim it back as holy space. God says this exposure is serious, but you are ready. Timing is now, and every delay lets energies linger, but now the hidden must come into light. Michael says do not fear what you discover, for all of it is revealed to set you free. God says truth is purification, exposure is healing, and now secrecy ends. Remove what does not belong. Speak prayers of blessing and invite holy energy. Michael will show you what must go and what must stay. Nothing sacred will be harmed, but the dark will be scattered. God says this truth will astonish you, and you may find signs like smells, shadows, or strange feelings, but they are evidence of what has been happening, and when you acknowledge it, the protection grows stronger. Michael says do not treat this lightly. He has tried to warn you before, but now you must act at once, because this revelation is for your safety. God says this cleansing is not only for the bathroom, but for your entire life and destiny. Once you act, you will see clarity, peace, and blessing unfold in other areas. 2 obstacles will be removed, and your soul will feel lighter. God says this exposure is not punishment, it is preparation for greater safety and favor. And Michael says every step you take now has spiritual weight. Your prayer, your awareness, your obedience bring full protection. God says this message is only for you. You are chosen to see it, to act, and to reclaim your home. Michael says begin with prayer and command the light of heaven into this space. See the shadows flee and the room fill with peace. God says the bathroom is symbolic as well. What you cleanse here also cleanses your inner life, your private self, your mind and heart. God says negative influences are leaving and your spirit will be free. Michael says stay vigilant, cleanse daily, pray consistently, because this is ongoing protection. God says I will never leave you. My light will cover you, my angels surround you, and your home will be safe as long as you remain aware. Speak aloud words of blessing. Declare that only divine energy may dwell here, and trust that you are fully guarded. Michael says continue this practice with faith, and your bathroom will become a true sanctuary, no longer a place of intrusion, but of peace and divine presence. God says now you are safe, you are loved, and what was hidden is revealed. Your sacred space is restored, and your life moves forward in clarity, light, and protection. God says the revelation you have just received is not the end, but the beginning of a greater cleansing in your life, and Archangel Michael is standing ready to walk with you step by step in this process. The bathroom is just the first place God has chosen to uncover, because it is symbolic. It represents privacy, vulnerability, and renewal. But now God says there are other spaces in your home and in your heart that must also be exposed and healed. The process that begins in the bathroom spreads through the entire home like light, flowing through every hallway, every door, and every corner. And God says this wave of exposure is happening now, not in some distant time, But today the light of heaven is shining into places long hidden. Michael says this is a chain reaction. Once one door opens, other doors will follow, and the truth will keep revealing itself until no shadow can remain. God says you will begin to notice little signs around you, objects that catch your eye, patterns that repeat in your thoughts, dreams that speak louder than before. All of these are signals guiding you toward further cleansing and protection. Pay attention to these. They are not random, they are messages meant to strengthen your awareness. Michael says when you take action with prayer and cleansing, you shift the atmosphere. The bathroom that was once heavy with hidden energy will now feel lighter, and you will sense peace when you enter instead of unease. Your spirit will notice the difference because the darkness that tried to hide there has been forced out. God says you will begin to feel more rested in your body, clearer in your thoughts, and stronger in your spirit. Even daily struggles will feel easier to handle because the hidden interference is gone. Michael says what is removed from the bathroom also removes chains from your life. This is why he urged you so strongly to act quickly. God says now look at water differently. Every drop you use to wash every stream from the faucet is more than a physical act, it is a spiritual cleansing too. Water is a carrier of memory, energy, and blessing. When you pray over it, you activate its power to wash not just your skin, but also your energy field. Michael says when you bathe or wash your face after this cleansing, do it with prayer and faith. Imagine golden light filling the water and flowing over you, removing every trace of negativity. God says what you do physically mirrors what happens spiritually, so use every action with intention. Michael says the mirror too must be reclaimed because mirrors are not just glass, they reflect spirit as well as image. He warns that mirrors can be used by forces to watch or influence you if they are left unguarded. But now you know the truth. God says speak over your mirror, declare that it reflects only light, only truth, only divine presence. Michael says cover it with prayer daily, and it will no longer serve as an opening for interference, but as a tool of blessing, reminding you of your true identity as a child of God. God says your bathroom floor, your tiles, your drains, even the air itself were once witnesses to energy that was not from me, but now they are witnesses of my presence. After you cleanse them, they will carry new memory, a holy memory of divine protection. Michael says this is how you reclaim territory. Every surface, every corner, every object must be spoken over because words carry power. Your voice filled with faith is stronger than any darkness. God says speak aloud, let the space hear you. Command that no negative force may return. Michael says keep doing this consistently, and no dark energy can remain. God says this cleansing of your bathroom will awaken your inner senses. You will notice things more quickly. You will feel when something is wrong. You will sense when energy shifts. Michael says this is a gift opening in you, a sharper intuition, a stronger discernment. This will protect you not only in your home but everywhere you go. You will know when someone's intentions are not pure. You will know when a space feels heavy. You will know when you need to pray. God says I am sharpening your spiritual vision because the days ahead require clarity. Michael says do not dismiss this as imagination because what you sense is real. It is guidance, it is protection, it is me and my angels helping you recognize what your eyes cannot see. God says the enemy tried to blind you to keep you unaware, but now that blindness is broken you will see clearly. Michael says even dreams will speak louder. Watch for them, write them down. They will show you signs about what has been hidden and what is being revealed. God says I will use every channel to guide you so you do not miss a thing. Michael says you may face resistance after you act. The forces that were hiding will not want to leave easily. They may try to disturb your sleep or make you doubt what you are doing, but God says do not be afraid. These are signs that the cleansing is working and the enemy is losing power. Michael says when you feel resistance, increase your prayers, increase your declarations, increase your faith, because the final push of cleansing is the strongest. God says victory is already yours, but you must stand firm. Michael says remember salt water and light are your tools. Salt absorbs negativity, water washes it away, light destroys it. God says use them together. Sprinkle salt in corners, pour water down drains with prayer, light a candle, or use bright light as you speak blessings. All of this activates my presence in the space and creates a shield. Michael says when you do this daily, even briefly, your home will stay under divine guard. God says consistency is your weapon. Do not stop after one time. Michael says pay attention to how you feel before and after cleansing. The difference is proof of what has been lifted. If you feel lighter, calmer, and more peaceful, know that my presence has filled the room. God says celebrate this victory. Give thanks out loud. Gratitude seals the blessing. Michael says when you thank God you strengthen the shield even more because gratitude is a magnet for light. God says never forget that even ordinary actions carry power when done with faith. Michael says after your bathroom is secured, you will notice blessings flowing into other areas, finances, improving relationships, softening doors of opportunity, opening. This is the ripple effect of cleansing your space. God says when the enemy's foothold is broken, the blockages in your life are removed. Michael says do not be surprised when sudden breakthroughs happen. They are signs of your obedience. God says what once was delayed is now being released. Michael says also be careful who enters your home, especially your bathroom. Not everyone carries good energy. God says some people carry shadows without even knowing. Michael says pray over your doorway, bless anyone who enters, but be mindful not to give careless access to those who bring harm. God says your home is a sanctuary, guard it with wisdom. Michael says keep holy symbols, prayers, and words of blessing in your bathroom. This ensures ongoing protection. God says this process is not just about a room, it is about training your spirit to stay awake and aware. Michael says life is filled with thresholds, and each one must be protected. Your bathroom was simply the place the enemy tried first, but now you are equipped. God says when you guard one threshold, you learn how to guard them all: your workplace, your relationships, even your mind. Michael says this message is not just warning, it is empowerment. God says, beloved child, the truth has been revealed. What was hidden has come to light, and from this day forward you walk in a higher level of protection. Michael says, I will not leave your side. My sword will remain over your home. My wings will cover you as long as you remain vigilant. God says, do not fear the future, for I am already there preparing safety for you. Michael says, continue cleansing, continue praying, continue declaring, and you will live in peace. God says your bathroom is now a sanctuary, your home a fortress, your spirit a beacon of light. Nothing formed against you will stand. God says, my child, the cleansing that began in the bathroom will now spread to the deepest places of your soul, because just as a room can be invaded, so can a heart and mind. But now you are armed with light and truth, and nothing hidden will remain concealed. Michael says the bathroom was chosen first because it is where you face yourself, where you see your reflection, where you are most vulnerable, and because of that the enemy thought it was the easiest doorway. But God says, I turned the enemy's plan into your awakening. Now what was meant to harm you has instead equipped you with vision and strength. God says your awareness is no longer ordinary. You now carry the ability to sense danger before it arrives, to feel shifts before they manifest, to know when something unseen is near, and this ability is not to scare you, but to guide you. Michael says your spirit is awake, and once awakened it cannot go back to sleep. God says, I will use this gift to protect you not only in your home, but in every place you step into, because my presence goes with you. Michael says the cleansing must continue until every corner of your home shines with peace. So after your bathroom, extend the same process to your bedroom, your living room, your kitchen, and every hidden place, for each space carries energy and memory. And now you will reset them all. God says this is not superstition, this is divine wisdom, for just as dirt collects on surfaces, unseen shadows gather where there is no prayer, and now you are called to wash them away. Michael says start with prayer, then use salt water, light, and words just as you did before, and you will notice your entire house shift from heavy to light, from restless to calm, from blocked to open. God says this is the power of spiritual cleansing, and you are walking in it. Michael says when you purify one room, you are not only cleansing objects, you are cleansing history, because old arguments, old sadness, old fear leaves residue in the air and walls, but when you bless them, those memories are lifted. God says the past no longer has a grip over you once the rooms are filled with my light. So when you walk through your home, speak blessings into the air, declare joy, peace, love, and health, and watch how your spirit responds. Michael says your home will begin to feel new, even if nothing physical changes, because the atmosphere itself has been reborn. God says as you do this your inner life mirrors the same change because the outer reflects the inner and the inner reflects the outer. When you remove heaviness from your home, you remove heaviness from your spirit. Michael says, notice how your thoughts become clearer, how your sleep becomes deeper, how your decisions become wiser. These are signs that you are aligned with heaven. God says you will no longer feel weighed down by confusion or doubt because the air you breathe is filled with blessing and peace. Michael says the enemy tried to use the most private room against you, but God says now you have turned that trap into a victory, and because of your obedience a chain reaction of blessing is unlocked. Doors that were once shut are now opening, opportunities that were blocked are now flowing, and relationships that were strained are softening. God says when you reclaim space in the physical, you also reclaim space in your destiny. This is why the cleansing was urgent. Michael says do not think the process ends here. It is the beginning of a lifelong practice of guarding your environment, guarding your mind, and guarding your spirit, because every day new energy enters your home through people, objects, and even through your own emotions. God says this is why consistency matters. You do not clean once and never again. You maintain, you protect, you refresh. And so it is with spiritual cleansing. Keep speaking prayers, keep blessing water, keep guarding mirrors, keep declaring light over every surface. Michael says when you make this a habit, no darkness can ever gain ground again. God says I am proud of you for listening, for taking this message seriously, for acting when you could have ignored it, because many hear but few obey, and obedience is the key that unlocks safety. Michael says because of your obedience new angels are now assigned to guard your home, not just one but many, surrounding every room, standing at every doorway, covering every corner with wings of fire. God says you may not see them, but you will feel their presence in the quiet peace that settles over your home. Michael says even visitors will feel it. They will notice the difference. They will feel lighter without knowing why, because they are stepping into a sanctified space. God says this is not only about you but also about your family and loved ones, because the cleansing you do covers them too. Even if they do not know it, they will feel safer, calmer, and more blessed in your presence. Michael says your obedience creates a shield over them. Your prayers extend beyond your own body and home to those you love. God says I have made you a light bearer in your family, and your home is now a lighthouse on the hill, a place where my presence dwells. Michael says as time passes, continue to stay alert, because the enemy may try to find new doorways, but now you know the signs, you know what to do. God says nothing will catch you off guard again, because you are prepared and surrounded. Michael says if you ever sense heaviness again, act quickly, do not delay, cleanse and pray immediately, for prevention is easier than battle. God says I will always give you the strength to win. You will never fight alone. God says remember my child, the bathroom was just the starting point, but the deeper message is about reclaiming all of your life, every habit, every thought, every hidden place within your heart and mind, because just like a room, these inner places can hold shadows and need cleansing too. Michael says when you pray, speak blessings over yourself, over your thoughts, over your emotions, over your dreams, because you are the true temple of God, your body, your spirit, your soul. This is the highest cleansing of all. God says when you cleanse within, no outside force can shake you. Michael says the exposure of your bathroom was both literal and symbolic. Literal because hidden energies were truly there, and symbolic because it reflects your innermost life. God says now both are being restored. Your space and your soul are united in light and peace. Michael says as you maintain both, you will grow stronger in wisdom and discernment, and you will become untouchable to the plans of the enemy. God says the more you do this, the more blessings will overflow, and not just in your home, but in your work, your relationships, your health, and your destiny. God says the time of fear is over, the time of clarity has begun. You will no longer walk blindly, you will walk with open eyes, guided by angels, protected by light, strengthened by faith. Michael says your story is shifting today from hidden struggle to revealed victory, and no shadow will remain. God says I am sealing this revelation with my promise that you are never alone, you are never unprotected, and you are always loved. Michael says breathe in peace now and feel the final seal of light covering your bathroom, your home, your life, your body, and your soul. God says what began as a hidden attack has ended as a testimony of protection. What began as fear has ended as strength. What began as secrecy has ended as exposure and victory. Michael says, now you are free, and nothing will bind you again. God says, rise my child, live in peace, live in strength, live in awareness, and walk in my presence for the rest of your days. Michael says, the sword of fire stands guard, the shield of light surrounds you, and the wings of heaven cover you. God says, it is finished, the cleansing is complete, the truth is revealed, and your space, your heart, and your life are forever protected and restored. God says, even though the cleansing is complete, there is still more I want to teach you, because exposure is not only about removing darkness, it is about learning how to live daily in the light. Michael says, the bathroom was the beginning, the home followed, and now the lesson is about your path forward, your choices, your routines, your relationships. Every step you take from now on is influenced by what you learned in this revelation. God says, I have given you authority over your atmosphere, authority over your environment, authority over your heart and mind, and this authority is not temporary, it is eternal, because it flows from me. Michael says, walk with confidence, knowing that the same angels who guarded your bathroom walls will guard your footsteps outside the door. The same light that filled your home will surround you when you walk in the world. God says, the enemy will still try to whisper doubt, but his voice is weaker now, his power is broken, and his tactics will fail because you are aware. Michael says, you will notice when heaviness tries to sneak in, when confusion tries to cloud your mind, when fear tries to sit on your shoulders, but instead of being overcome you will now stand and speak like God says. Your words have creative power, the same way I spoke, and the world was formed. You speak, and your space is shaped, so speak blessing, speak peace, speak health, speak abundance, and watch how your life changes. Michael says, every word matters, so let your words become weapons of light. God says, remember the symbolism of water and mirror and light. Water continues to wash you not only on your skin, but in your spirit. When you pray over it, mirror continues to remind you of who you are, not what the enemy wants you to believe, but what I created you to be, and light continues to chase away any shadow when you let it shine. Michael says, these everyday objects are no longer ordinary, they are now sacred tools in your journey. God says, this is how I turn simple things into powerful reminders so that you never forget the lesson of revelation. Michael says, there will be moments when you feel weary, when the weight of daily struggles makes you forget, but God says, in those moments return to the practice, cleanse again, pray again, bless again, because repetition builds strength, consistency builds protection, and persistence builds unshakable faith. Michael says, it is not about doing it once and forgetting, it is about living a lifestyle of awareness and holiness. God says, the more you live in this awareness, the more blessings flow naturally into your life like water from a fountain without end. God says, the cleansing of your bathroom has created ripples that extend farther than you realize into the spirit world, into your family line, into generations to come, because what you break today will never return tomorrow. What you remove now will never touch your children. What you declare today will echo for years. Michael says, your obedience has created a wall of fire around those who come after you. God says, curses are broken, chains are shattered, doors of blessing are opened, and this is not only for you, but for all who are connected to you. Michael says, this is why it was urgent, this is why it was not optional, this is why delay was dangerous, because the enemy was not only after you, but after your legacy, after your peace, after your destiny. But God says his plan failed, because you chose to listen, you chose to act, you chose to believe. Michael says, because of that choice, heaven rejoices, because you turned an attack into a testimony, and now your life will never be the same. God says, take this moment and seal it with gratitude. Say thank you not only with your lips, but with your actions. Live in thankfulness, live in awareness, live in light, because gratitude strengthens your shield. Michael says, every time you give thanks, you draw more angels closer, you increase the brightness of your light, you multiply your blessings. God says, let your gratitude rise daily in prayer, in song, in kindness to others, for what you give will return multiplied. Michael says, do not be surprised when new Opportunities appear when sudden breakthroughs arrive, when long-delayed answers come quickly, because cleansing removes blockages and gratitude multiplies blessings. God says the flow will increase so much that you will know it is not coincidence, you will know it is me, you will know it is the fruit of obedience. Michael says, write these things down, keep a record, so you never forget how far you have come. God says testimonies are not just for others, they are for you to remember that what I began I will finish. Michael says continue to guard your thresholds, the doors, the windows, the mirrors, the drains, because they represent access points, both physical and spiritual, and by blessing them daily, you ensure no shadow can return. God says this does not take long. A simple word of prayer, a simple declaration of light is enough, but it must be done with faith, because faith is the force that activates my power. Michael says faith is your strongest weapon, greater than salt, greater than water, greater than light itself, because faith is what invites heaven into earth. God says you are not the same as before, you are stronger, wiser, more aware, and this transformation is permanent. Michael says the enemy will recognize your strength and retreat, because you no longer live in blindness, you live in vision. God says, I am proud of you, I am with you, and I will never leave you. Michael says from this day forward, consider your bathroom and your home no longer battlegrounds, but sanctuaries, safe places filled with peace. Places where angels dwell, places where heaven touches earth. God says rest now in the assurance that you are fully protected, fully covered, fully loved. You have done what was required, and now blessings will overtake you. Michael says the sword of fire still guards the threshold, the wings of heaven still cover the roof, and the shield of light still surrounds your body. God says walk with confidence, sleep with peace, live with joy, because what was once hidden is now revealed, and what was once threatened is now